Hello, in this lecture we talk about the story and the title of the great poem, The Knight in the Panther's Skin. So we start with the story. In a nutshell, the story of the great poem is about the adventures of two knights, Tariel and Abtandil. Tariel is the protagonist of the poem, is the knight that wears the tiger skin. The second knight is Abtandil. Abtandil is the chief of staff of Arab armies. So in the next step I'll talk about the story in detail. Actually, the story of the great poem, The Knight in the Panther's Skin, can be divided into two parts. The first part is the search for Tariel, the protagonist of the poem. The second part is the search for Tariel's beloved, the Standard. So we start with the first part, the search for Tariel. One day, King Osevan, who is the king of Arabia, goes to an hunting competition with Tariel. Tariel is the chief of staff of King Osevan's armies. During the competition, they take a break and they rest under a tree. And all of a sudden, they see a mysterious knight crying by a river. So King Osevan wanted very much to know who is that mysterious knight. Therefore he sent slaves in order to contact him, but the mysterious knight reacts violently and kills all the slaves that were sent by King Osevan in order to contact him, and then disappears. Tinatin is the only daughter of King Osevan, and she loves Abtandil. Abtandil also loves Tinatin. So Tinatin asks from his beloved Abtandil to search the mysterious knight, and if he finds the mysterious knight, she will marry him in return. So so Abtandil goes to search the mysterious knight all over the world, and after 2 years and 9 months, he finds the mysterious knight. The mysterious knight tells him that his name is Tariel, and that he was the commander of India's fleet, and he also loves the Standard, that is the daughter of King Panther'S. King Panther'S is the king of India. But the problem is that his beloved Standard was abducted, and from that point he was always crying and sobbing, and he also secluded himself in a cave with only a maiden by his side. The name of the maiden is Asmat. Asmat helped him to cope with the tragedy that he underwent. So Abtandil was very moved by the story of the mysterious knight Tariel, and therefore he promises, first of all, he becomes friend of Tariel, and he also promises Tariel to help him to find his beloved, the Standard. So that is the first part of the story, the search for Tariel. The second part is the search for Tariel's beloved, the Standard. So in the second part, Abtandil searches the Standard, and after a lot of searching and investigations, he finds out that the Standard was abducted by the Kajis. The Kajis are demons. So Abtandil, Tariel, and Pridon, who is the ruler of the city Mungazalzar, together with 300 soldiers, go to the country of the Kajis in order to rescue the Standard, Tariel's beloved, from her captivity. But the problem is that the country of the Kajis is a fortress, and it is actually impossible to infiltrate to that fortress. And the second problem is that the Kajis are very strong warriors. So actually the mission to rescue the Standard from her captivity is an impossible mission. But against all the odds, the 300 soldiers, together with of Tandil, Pridon and Tariel did the unthinkable, that is to say, they succeeded to rescue Nestan Darjan from her captivity by the Kajis. The story has an happy ending in the sense that Abdandil marries Tinatin and Tariel, who is the protagonist of the poem, marries his beloved Nestan Darjan. So that is the story of the great poem, The Night in the Panther's Skin. In the next step, I will talk about the title of the great poem. Actually, it is not clear if the animal in the poem is a panther or a tiger, so we assume that it is a tiger, and therefore the title of the story, the great poem, is The Night in the Tiger's Skin. The night is Tariel, who is the protagonist of the poem, that wears the tiger's skin. So actually, there is a particular chapter in the poem that talks about Tariel that kills a lion and the tiger. And the story of that particular chapter is as follows. One day, Tariel sees a lion that was chasing after a tiger. So Tariel was very angry on the lion because of the fact that he thought that the lion was going to kill the tiger. So in order to save the life of the tiger, he kills the lion and then goes to the tiger in order to argue. But the tiger is very angry on Tariel because of the fact that the tiger and the lion was not fighting, but they were just playing a game. And therefore the tiger starts to eat Tariel very strongly with its paws, so Tariel could bear no more the blows of the tiger, and therefore he is back the tiger, and if in one blow the tiger was killed. So it's actually a very tragic story because of the fact that Tariel risked his life in order to save the tiger from the hands of the lion, but at the end of the story he was the one that killed the tiger. It was not intentionally, but that is the fact of the story, that he killed the tiger. So Tariel is very sorry about the fact that he killed the tiger, and he was very angry on himself. So he decided to wear the tiger's skin as a coat. So there are two reasons that Tariel wears the tiger's skin. The first reason is because it reminds him the fact that he killed the tiger that he loved so much, and the second reason is that it also reminds him the abduction of his beloved, Nestan Darjan, that was abducted twice. Why it reminds him the abduction of Nestan Darjan? Because of the fact that the face of the tiger was very similar to the face of his beloved Nestan Darjan. So repeat again, there are two reasons that Tariel wears the tiger's skin. The first reason, it is a reminder for him that he killed the tiger that he loved so much, and the second reason is because of the fact that it reminds him his beloved Nestan Darjan that was abducted twice. We know that the tiger's figure is a very important figure in the poem. Why? Because of the fact that the name of the poem is The Night in the Tiger's Skin. The night is Tariel, who is the protagonist of the poem, that wears the tiger's skin. But the question is why the tiger's figure is a very important figure in the poem, and so I already mentioned before, the reason is because of the fact that the face of the tiger is very similar to the face of the Nestan Darjan, who is Tariel's beloved. Okay, thank you very much.